19-mile Ingleton line was a rural railway line originally within the boundaries of West Riding of Yorkshire, Lancashire and Westmoreland.
So planned from 1846 to form part of a main route from London to Scotland, its 3-county journey started here at Clapham, stopping a short 4 miles away at Ingleton, laid by the Little Northwestern Railway, eager to reach a sought after position just north of Shap on the West Coast main line. Oh, crikey, that's a lot of sleepers dumped round here. Definitely a sense that it was a railway. But originally when the railway line was built, it only served about 10 months before the line was closed. Thus the race was back on, and many railway companies were very keen to see it completed, as it would be much quicker this way, rather than risking it with what the West Coast main line had to offer around Shap. That is a lot of sleepers.
The final 18 miles was built by the Lancaster and Carlisle Railway from 1861 by 1600 navvies and 70 horses taking stone from a local quarry.
Stone to build this railway was once taken from many quarries, like one that's near one of the largest cave chamber systems in Great Britain, called White Scar Caves. Unknown to many, this great visitor attraction once had a branch mineral railway line running across the area down to its parent line at Ingleton, delivering its stone. Oh, definitely signs of a railway line of sorts. Old concrete sleepers that have been used to hold this little bridge as a watercourse. Very good. So the quarry not being too far from here, there's definite evidence of a mineral railway that went down towards Ingleton as regards the line with financial difficulties. And just sheer bad management, the line fell victim to its rivalry railway between the companies at Ingleton, and they just struggled to thrive. The gorgeous Ingleton Viaduct and its saga often takes a lot of the focus from this line. So next, I'll travel to some gorgeous, lesser known gems, and even more pretty and hidden, a beautiful Grade 2 listed structure.
The line's future was doomed to succeed from the early offset, as it only remained as a rural branch line, merely serving the small towns like Ingleton, Kirkby Lonsdale and Sedbergh. The Lancashire and Carlisle Railway would just not cooperate with the Midland Railway at Ingleton to run any of its express trains on this line. Thus, in reaction, the Settle and Carlisle Railway was built and robbed this line of its intended potential.
Away from Ingleton, our first station would have been Barburn. Now it's just totally gone, out of recognition, covered by a new housing estate, but its neighbouring station Middleton is still there, now a home. Once it had a weighing machine and a signal box, opening as Middleton in 1861. Then it was renamed as Middleton on Loon on July 19th, 1926. But then it closed 5 years later.
Even after the line closed in 1964, it was used occasionally for goods, weekend excursions and to transport pupils from the boarding schools. It even held on as a relief route until the final curtain came down in April 1967.
I never get bored looking at the old track beds where steam trains used to travel along and just imagining the tracks, picturing the tracks and everything else that went with it. Right, I'm now going this way towards a very well known sweet spot with a bridge, of course, because I love my bridges. Keep going. There's lots of walking on this one today, a lot more than I anticipated, which is fine. Now and again you find little things hidden away, and then down there there's a post which could have been a fencing post running beside the railway line. You just see the odd one or two things just lying around, little gems of times gone by. Oh, okay. That needs to be on the other side. I was a bit dubious, to be honest with you, whether I was on public footpath or not. I do try my very best, it's not always clear to work out where you're at, but we are on a public footpath, and lucky enough I've managed to come around the other side, on the east side of the bridge, because I just want to show you how beautiful this bridge is, and I should be able to get a good shot from this side. This is a beautiful structure, a hidden one. Now, only able to carry imagination over this river now. This bridge, called Rothery Bridge near Sedbergh, is a retired stone iron bridge that escaped from being totally dismantled. It's built of rock-faced sandstone abutments with wrought iron and cast iron, taking its single span across the river. Now, it was constructed by Coulthard and Allen, who had built the original Clapham to Ingleton Little Northwestern Railway line 10 years earlier.
The single line continues to its next stop, to a town that has Saxon origins. The small town of Sedbergh and its railway station was located in the West Riding of Yorkshire when it was built. Now in Cumbria, following the boundary changes in the 70s, it is in private hands, with the old station part of the site that was used as a coal yard and a goods shed, still in use today by the same family since 1895. Glancing up over the land, making our way to our very special feature, we follow the line west on a walk along to a structure that has recently had over £500,000 spent on it.
Carlisle. That is a beautiful looking viaduct, combination of iron and red brick. Can't wait to get up and close to that one. But when I was at Sedbergh station, there was an older chap there, 5th generation, his sons, they've been there since the railways at that yard, the coal merchants. And he was saying that it was the goods yard there, and he remembers the shunter train going up and down. In fact, he was on it. He's been on it, going up and down on the yard, just for laughs, just for fun, as a kid, as a child. His dad was a big rail enthusiast. They've been a long time, and it's good to see that they've left a little bit of rail, a section of rails at the forefront of the goods yard in homage to the railway that was once there. And he was explaining it was a company from Blackpool that removed the Ingleton branch line, my hometown. Amazing to talk to local people who've still got cherished memories of a railway line that was so dear to them all. And importantly, he actually mentioned the fact that had it been left there maybe 15-20 years beyond the official closing day, then the railway line potentially could have still been there and up and running, because tourism has changed since the 50s and 60s, and people do use the railways a lot more. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Now this is known locally as Waterside Viaduct. It was a major engineering contract awarded to Cuddles and Allen by the Lancaster and Carlisle Railway in 1858. Stood 100 foot beside the Dales Way, an 80-mile footpath from West Yorkshire to Bowness on Windermere. This Grade 2 listed structure, built with Penrith stone and cast iron, carried the track to T-Bay above the River Loon since 1861. Now, once they completed this viaduct, the Board of Trade came to inspect it. One Colonel William Eulard, who granted his approval, allowing the test train of 3 locomotives and full tenders to pass across, a total weight of 250 tonnes, proving that the structure was well sound.
Not long back, having £600,000 refurbishment repairs programme that was carried out with improvements on the drainage system, downpipes and other areas of the viaduct. The old surface of the deck was removed and a modern waterproofing membrane was fitted, protecting this beautiful structure for many, many years.
And over time of its lifespan, many Black 5 locomotives would have passed over this viaduct, especially when its younger rival, the Little and Carlisle Railway line, was laden with snow, blocking any express trains going to Scotland. Thus they diverted them across this railway line and across this viaduct. All traffic went to Scotland. And even LNER's most famous number, 4472, Flying Scotsman, paid a special visit across this way in 1963. So in the end, as the sun sets down on this viaduct, it once did officially and ferried its last passengers over in 1954 with a farewell ceremony which was much larger than its original opening ceremony. Therefore, on the 30th of January at 6:42, a packed 5-coach train left Clapham, where I started my journey, with many people in Victorian costume, accompanied by the Kirkby Lonsdale brass band, whose predecessors had performed a century prior to its more modest opening. At Lowgill there was speeches and a wreath laid upon the final loco, as well-wishers at Ingleton and along this line sang a final rendition of Auld Lang Syne.